Violent weekend in Chicago. A woman was fatally shot while driving in the North Austin neighborhood.
If you want to get a sense of how persistent gun violence is in Chicago, look no further than this new measure to stop the bleeding.
It's just another layer of security and protection.
This month, Chicago began installing bleeding control kits around the city, equipped to treat gunshot wounds before paramedics arrive. Each of the kits contain enough supplies to treat up to 8 victims. The city started installing 426 of them in hundreds of city-owned buildings, including libraries and City Hall. NBC Chicago, reporting the city's Office of Emergency Management and Communication, says parks and metro stops will likely be next.
So it's basically to stop the bleed.
A flyer for the city's program notes the kits can help treat, quote, falls, penetrating injuries, gunshot wounds, and more. The move, just the latest sign of how local governments are reacting to a nationwide rise in shootings last year. The FBI revealed this week that murders jumped 29% in 2020 compared to the year before, the biggest yearly increase since the agency began tracking the data 6 decades ago. Overall, the rate of murders is still lower than in the 1990s. Back in Chicago,
we have a common enemy. It's the guns and the gangs.
The city has seen more than 600 murders so far this year, according to the police department, on pace with last year's surge.
It's hard to put in words the loss that we're feeling.
Including 8 just last weekend.
We're living in different times, and we're doing our best to adapt to the environment that we're living in.
Shaquille Brewster joins us now from Chicago. Shaq, I have 2 questions for you on these new kits. The first, who exactly is paying for them?
The city is paying for them. They're paying about $500 a piece for these kits through help from a federal grant program under the Department of Homeland Security. Now, that program is designed to help cities prepare for things like terrorism and other disasters. You have city officials saying they hope to never have to use these kits, and they see them as a preventative measure at this point.
Right, and since you're a resident of Chicago, I sort of want to ask you about these gunshot wound kits because they seem to be the short-term solution to a much bigger problem. We heard that emergency management official in your story there saying we're living in different times, but the scene of that and just the way they look and having them up in buildings, it just sort of looks and feels like we've entered a much different era.
Yeah, Tom, I'll tell you, there's deep frustration with the situation here in Chicago. I mean, even just yesterday, you had 5 people killed, 9 people wounded in shootings. So there's a deep frustration with the existence of the problem that these shootings continue. And there's also an understanding and a deep frustration with the idea that there is no clear solution to the problem. So that's what the city is coming in with these kits. Hopefully it will lead to fewer people dying, but it really doesn't address the root problem, which is the existence of these consistent shootings. Tom?
Shaq Brewster for us tonight. Shaq, thank you for that.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.